Recording started. All right, welcome back to the Jude and Matt chat. Sorry for the wait, guys. We had a little technical difficulty last time we were trying to
Yeah,
record with the Wi-Fi, unfortunately. Matt couldn't even hear anything that I was saying.
I was getting really stressed one night.
Yeah, we were having good. It is what it is. We apologize for the inconsistency, guys. I did post on my channel links to our chat with We the People Radio. Just after the 6th, we got into some group talk. That was really fun.
Had a
Shout out
great
to
time.
those guys. Yeah, we appreciate them for having us.
Mm.
It was great. So
I definitely want to go back on there.
definitely, yeah, they were really nice. So a lot has happened, and we've kind of waited to speak on a few things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
it's intense. So this episode theme is going to be hypocrisy because there's a lot of that going around right now. We just want to address some of it. Yeah, there's going to be a lot that every episode I kind of try to tell myself it could be the last one, but I am saving our chats to potentially start a new channel on one of the other platforms. I've been kind of shopping around. I'm not really sure what to go with yet, and it gets difficult juggling all of these platforms at once. So
It's hard to find ones that aren't going to censor as well, because even the ones you think aren't owned seem to be owned a lot of the time.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah. On that note, I mean, the censorship is crazy, but I think we just wanted to touch on the 6 really quick, and then we'll go right into that censorship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really tense in the days leading up to it because we all kind of felt like something was going to go down, and everyone was like, "Hey, Antifa's going to infiltrate. They're going to pull some stuff," and a lot of the Trump supporters were on tape shouting at them like, "Hey, that's not us. We don't do this. We don't want to do that." There's a lot of video evidence out there of what really happened. What did you notice, Matt?
Yeah, and when you look at it all, it's a complete setup. It's a complete setup. There's been a lot of disagreements though in the patriot community with it, because obviously at first, before all this footage started coming out, some people were saying, look, if you're saying this is Antifa, unfollow me now because this is angry patriots, which so some of it would have been, but it by judging by the footage, it wasn't even stormed. These people were literally allowed to walk straight in.
Yeah, there's footage of police just kind of letting them walk by. I think they were investigating some of the cops, and they just kind of waved them in, and then people walked in the ropes, as if
The
they were
line
going
ropes
on a
get me.
tour.
It's
Yeah,
so
they was
funny.
just there was no burning, smashing.
Single file just walking through.
I know, a couple of windows got smashed, but think about it. This is a building with some of the highest security in the world. Probably not probably, they're insured, so it's not like they can't fix a couple broken windows. And they were picking up. They showed footage of people picking up garbage and cleaning up after people were there, as if it was some tragedy. But it's are we not going to talk about how everything was on fire for 6 months last year?
Absolutely.
So,
but that was a mostly peaceful protest, apparently. So
mostly peaceful fires, yes. Mostly peaceful explosions and tear gas
and everything else.
Yeah, as long as you call it mostly peaceful and people are there for BLM, it's totally fine. But I mean, there's a lot of nice people still trying to be in the BLM movement because they don't know any better. I'm not trash talking all of them. I know that we all want change and we all want violence to stop, and I get that. But as someone who came from that side, there's something going on here, because you can't just generalize thousands of people and not bring up the fact that last summer way worse were allowed. And there are quotes from these Democratic people being well, I think it's Cuomo that said, well, who said a protest had to be peaceful?
Yeah.
Isn't that literally one of the First Amendments?
And they were bailing people out. They were offering money.
Yeah, but the Constitution literally says we have a right to protest peacefully. But there's a difference between a riot and a protest, and what they called a riot on the 6th is nothing compared to what happened last summer.
It was nothing.
Absolutely. Sure, there's going to be extremists on both sides, but you can't just call 80 million people white supremacists and racists. It's just a cop out. You just can't assume things about people like that. So, then there's people coming out like John Sullivan, who evidently was in the Olympics. I was really like thrown by that. Like I saw him speed skating and I was like, what?
Hmm.
But I mean, I can't tell if they're just that dumb or if that's a setup as well. Do you
Yeah,
know
I
what
know
I
what
mean?
you mean, because sometimes you just think these people can't be, they can't be that stupid. But at the same time, I think they are sometimes really obvious just to see if they can get away with mocking us. They seem, like they use the same crisis actors all the time. It's almost like they just dangle it in front of our faces to see how many people will eat it up, and a lot of people do.
Yeah. Yeah, and crisis actors are definitely a thing. Like if you think that they don't choose people to put on TV in front of something, like they do, they
Hmm.
definitely do.
Hmm.
It's part of the matrix, one of many things to just keep us in a specific reality and not questioning things.
Hmm.
But he's come out. I think I put the whole thread on my Twitter, which is miraculously still up because I look like a liberal still. Um, I don't know what it is. I was just like, oh, whoa, still waiting. Like, I don't know how I'm still up.
You need
You
to
got
get some camouflage in your bio. I've been nuked twice in a couple of days. It wasn't even many days that other account was up for.
no. You had to get a second Twitter, and then they took that one too.
Yeah, and it's making me struggle finding my resources.
Mm. I know you use Twitter a lot to look for things, huh?
Yeah, it's the best place to get all the information to then take over to Instagram.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't necessarily trust Instagram either, but like, I don't know what, like, that this is the thing. Like, if you want to complain about certain people who don't agree with you and telling them to leave their platform and then cheering when their platform gets taken, like, what do you want?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what I don't get is people telling people like they to go away and get their own place, and then when they do, it's removed, and you think that that's a good thing. I have news for you, it's not. Like people don't get it. Like the fact that big tech was able to censor the president is
Yeah,
not a good sign.
this is the thing. Like, people on the left should be equally as concerned, because if they can take away the voice of the president of the United States, they're gonna do it to you. Like, nobody is safe from this. And the sad thing is, I don't think a lot of them are going to realize that until their voice is taken from them.
Right.
I think they all literally think they're just so safe, and that they're making excuses for the president being deleted. I mean, I saw some comments saying about free speech is only acceptable when it doesn't have its consequences, and I was thinking that that means it's not free, because basically you say what they want you to say, or you're not having your voice, so that's not free speech at all. But people don't see it like that.
No.
They're trying to justify this.
Yeah, and the thing is these are technically private companies that can do whatever they want, and that's the problem. And in I don't like calling Trump a dictator and saying that he deserves it is like you're really missing the point because you can't censor a dictator.
No, the
The
dictator is the
dictator's
one
in
that does
charge.
the censoring.
Yeah, the dictators are in charge. And I saw the
Uh-huh.
footage of him telling people to be peaceful and go home before it was like removed. Like it got flagged and you couldn't like interact with the tweet a whole lot. And then it was just gone. Like everything was gone.
Yeah. The other thing I found absolutely insane was the hypocrisy when it comes to Trump and Biden as well, because Trump was saying that he wanted $2,000 stimulus checks. Yeah, he wanted those to go out, and it got put down to 600. Well, then Biden had the nerve to go and tweet out saying, "I want the American people to have $2,000," and I was like, Trump has literally been saying this whole time, and everyone was responding to Biden, going, "Ah, oh, yeah, you're amazing, thank you so much," and I'm like, Trump literally tried to do the exact same thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's $600 is just it's just nothing. It's crumbs after a whole
Yeah,
year of that. Like we got what altogether I think we got $2,000 in total because what the first stimulus check was what like 1,200 and then we got the 600 so $1,800 for
uh-huh.
your troubles, for your burned down businesses, for your losses. Like it's just insulting.
It is, it
For most
is, but
families, that's like two grocery trips.
But they, you know, anything good that Trump does, they try and say is their idea
Mhm.
all
Yeah,
the time, and most people eat it up. They believe it.
yeah,
So they're
yeah,
listening to all the narrative,
yeah.
Orange Man bad, and all that.
It's yeah, and it's just it's getting embarrassing that I used to be like that, but it's fine. You know, like we all, uh
You made it to the good side in the end. You're
I don't consider myself Republican or conservative. That's the thing
yeah,
is people are looking at me like,
independent.
"Oh, now you're far right instead of far left," and I'm like, "No,
No,
no,
it's just Trump,
no."
isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's as someone who clearly is doing good stuff, and I mean even the Republicans. Look, it's evident now that both the parties are corrupt. Like Trump literally was left on his own. He's been
Yeah.
left on his own. Like, and the talk people are having of like the Patriot Party and stuff, I really think that's the way it's going to go because the people aren't going to trust an election ever again. And
No.
soon, when all of this does get exposed, the rest of the world will follow suit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's see, where were we? I mean, again, generalizing all these people, it's just not right. And like, I say that as someone who used to like agree and dislike them. Like, when you look at humanity as a whole, you're just like, oh no, like everyone deserves to say something
Yeah.
and to be their own person and to question groupthink and like critically think without being called conspiracy theorists and like made to be look like framed crazy, you know.
Hmm.
And the thing about global takeover is like that's one of the strategies is this whole divide and conquer and get people to fight each other and like you know both sides of politics right now are just two wings on the same crazy bird. Like they're all basically puppets. I mean, and the thing is that Trump has been a mirror to the country to show us what's really going on, and he's called out a lot of that. And he
Hmm.
hasn't. But his deal is that he couldn't be bought, you know. And yeah, people bring up the Epstein thing a lot, but like I just when I dig for that, I haven't found any actual proof.
No,
Like
no.
there's court cases which anyone can file, doesn't necessarily prove anything if it, especially if it doesn't go through. And then, you know, there's the fact that he took the flight before the island was bought
Hmm.
to New Jersey. So like I'm just not buying it anymore that he's might be part of the deep state. But I mean, if anyone has anything else to say, let me know. But I think that he shook up the system, and that's why everyone was so against him.
Hmm.
And like I said, I was really anti-Trump. Like I was there, and now I backed up, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. You can't do this to thousands of people. You can't just like remove their voices and say they're racist because you don't agree with them. Like that's not unity. And now Biden and Harris are all like, we have to rebuild unity, unity, but then they're calling like Republicans Nazis in the same breath. And it's like, that's not really how it works. Mm. You
I
know, so
know.
it's getting dangerous. I just don't know what happened to the golden rule, trying to treat people the way you want to be treated. Everyone's got all this poison in them all the time from looking at the narrative and believing it and just consuming the bias and being like, oh yeah, you must be right. This is how I'm going to feel because of what you said. Like thoughts are
They
being implanted and we don't even understand it.
they seem to as well brainwash people in a certain way that people will feel like they're doing a noble thing by belittling somebody against the narrative. Like
Absolutely.
people who tend to troll people, um, it's almost like that they think it's clever and that they think it's
Mhm.
funny what they're doing because
Mhm.
they're doing what all the people on the telly want you to do, you know, and to criticize people who aren't believing what you're meant to believe and things like that. Like that they've really turned people into very the very hostile people. That's what it's done.
Yeah, and I just don't know like how I mean, I do know how we got this far because like that's social media, but it's like for me, everything has come down to energy. It's whether you're being negative or whether you're being positive.
Hmm.
And if you're purposefully like bullying someone and you think that's a good thing, it's kind of just like fighting fire with fire or like trying
Definitely,
to
yeah.
clean the toilet with your mouth. Like you are not getting anywhere. So you just you're perpetuating the hate by being hateful and by talking down to people you don't even fully understand or know.
Hmm.
And but granted, again, there are extremists on both sides.
Of
And I
course,
can
yeah.
tell you that there plenty of Trump supporters are like, yeah, of course racism is bad. Because Trump himself has denounced racism multiple times and it gets cut
Yeah.
out or ignored or thrown out, whatever it is. Like people
They
just
never show it.
pretend that he doesn't say it.
Hmm.
And he's been saying it since like I found like a really early interview of him on Matt Lauer saying that David Duke was involved in the Republican Party, and he's like, "That's bad. We don't like that. Racism is bad. Like, he's a bigot. That's a problem." He said that, and people just forget. And so now that he's off Twitter, and like, what is that? You know? And there's all these accounts that still exist on Twitter. Like, I took a bunch of notes because I was just like, what? Why? And like Iran's supreme leader, who has repeatedly called for the death of America, politicians, and the president. Death threats, still on Twitter. Antifa
Yeah,
chapter.
and just look at what Kathy Griffin put.
Oh yeah,
It's
and like,
disgusting.
how is that okay? So, if the shoe was on the other foot, people would be very upset.
Yeah, if that was Biden's head, they would be very unhappy about that.
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing, is like, you don't understand what it means when people disrespect our president. We're not supposed to do that. And if you do, you're kind of supposed to be allowed to do that, I guess. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that's free speech, but it's extremely violent. And if, again, the shoe was on the other foot and she was holding Biden's head, people would have a problem with it, would they not? And it's only because they brainwash people to believe that that's what they want, that he's some kind of racist dictator.
An evil person, yeah.
He's been censored and denounced racism. People aren't paying attention. And the other thing is there's still Antifa chapters. And the thing about Antifa is, while they're called anti-fascist, they're literally just acting like fascists. And that's that is an agenda of the Communist Party. Like, people have warned us in history that they try to do the opposite. Like, one of the last rises of communism, the slogan was "Down with Communism," while they were in the middle of bringing it forward. So it's this reverse psychology thing. That's the thing with Antifa. I just wanted to explain that really quick. Like, I don't trust them. They're a lot of the violence out there right now.
Oh yeah.
And they're still allowed to be on Twitter. Like, they have a chapter from Sacramento that encourages and applauds people getting doxxed, tracking people. They support violent attacks. You know, they applaud it. Which, again, like, fighting violence with violence is just a never-ending cycle. It's just war that never ends. There has to be something else. And a lot of people think that like violence is the only thing that the other side's going to understand. But like, I just think there has to be some other way. I just don't. It's not like I have all the answers or anything, but there's got to be another way. And
for sure.
You know, and then people like Colin Kaepernick encourage people to revolt and fight violence with violence. And he wasn't taken off Twitter. He was actually awarded a grant from Jack. He was given like a couple $1 million or something. So there's more. I mean, the Chinese embassy in the U.S., for whatever reason, exists and has a Twitter. And then there was a tweet that's now deleted, basically claiming that, and pardon my pronunciation, Uyghur, I'm sorry, women were better off sterilized and that they eradicated extremism. So they're bragging about genocide, basically.
Wow.
And harming a population, and saying that these women are better off because they're not baby making machines.
And that's perfectly fine.
Right.
Have that on there. No issue whatsoever with that.
Well, they took the tweet down, but they still exist on Twitter. And then there's Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, and a recent UN report uncovered evidence of crimes against humanity. He also cheated to rise to power, and he's been found guilty of extrajudicial executions, disappearing political opponents, tortured protesters with techniques like electric shocks, mutilation, and asphyxiation. He is still on Twitter. And the people of Venezuela that have come here mostly to like Florida and places on the coast,
they've noticed the signs. They said they've seen it happening.
Yeah, they're trying to warn us that the way things are going now is how they started over there. You know, like someone cheating to rise to power, bringing in communism under the guise of fighting communism and fascism. It's it's all happening. So I just hope people can kind of open their eyes to that.
Definitely.
How, again, the reverse psychology thing is making you think that it's okay to be angry and to treat people badly.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow that's justified. It's just the hypocrisy is off the charts, as is the gaslighting, and it's terrible when I realize what's fully going on. Again, like, I was on one side, then I went to the other, and I've kind of backed up and looked at both ends. So that's what makes my perspective unique and probably threatening to some. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they also, I mean, speaking of walkaway Democrats like myself, they completely took down the walkaway
Yeah,
movement.
they've been censoring the whole thing, haven't they? They
Yeah.
removed the hashtag.
Yeah, they don't like people like me, and they don't like people like Brandon Straka, who's been leading an entire movement of thousands of
Mm-hmm.
people who are in the same boat, who are looking at the big picture and either being like, well, I'm a Republican now, or screw
Yeah.
both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Because both parties are definitely corrupt. This isn't about politics anymore, guys. Like, this is a good and evil thing. This is a positive and negative thing. And there's a lot of, convolution and gray areas here, but overall, I think we need to simplify things a little bit and try to get ourselves back to the golden rule and figure out a way to enter a compassionate society. But I don't know how. I don't have the answer. But they're
It's kind of
censoring
hard to
people.
when everything's like it is. Just need to take out the trash first and start working towards it.
That's the problem. Yeah. So I did want to warn people right now not to engage in any unnecessary activity. There's a lot of cyber warfare happening. This is kind of like
Yeah.
the invisible war. It's a spiritual war because it's kind of unseen and it's on an internal level. And that's part of like us going into the new age. We're going to have some growing pains, and we're in uncharted territory. I mean, we've never had this kind of technology to contact each other. Like, we've never been this connected, and people don't agree, so there's a lot of like infiltrating happening. There's a lot of people bullying each
So
other,
much misinformation and things going
a
on.
lot of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
So use discernment right now, and a lot of times we have to use the 48-hour rule, where if you see a piece of news, don't necessarily react to it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do that. I just wait things out for a couple days, and we've been doing that as well with our show, just to see what's been going on. But again, if you feel like someone is coming at you, I try not to engage with them, because it's just not worth it most of the time.
There's especially been a lot more of it than normal at the moment as well, because where we're in like the key time of everything going on right now, and a lot of people are on edge. You've got the people who are thinking positive, and you've got the people who are thinking the worst, and it's understandable to be on either side, because this is a very like crazy time we're living in, but it's causing bickering amongst the movement, and that's quite intense when you've already got the pressure of the people who aren't awake already thinking we're loonies. So I don't know. I haven't personally been able to stop looking at everything, because stuff is really happening right now, and I can't take my eyes off it. But at the same time, I'm trying to avoid a lot of communication in a way, because where everybody is so at each other's throat, it's just making everything more stressful. So I've been trying to like research, but from a distance,
Yeah, I
because
totally understand.
comment sections are a bit crazy at the moment on things. People going, we're all doomed, and other people go, no, we're going to be okay. And it's just, none of us really know what's going to happen, and it does have you on edge because of it, because it's so important what's about to happen.
Oh, I know.
Like,
And
it's
bad. And Matt and I started a Telegram because
yeah,
of what was going on, and it kind of exploded. We didn't really expect it to get.
it was on like 1,500 people for a while, and then since Trump's Twitter got deleted, it's just been
Yeah, we're over 8,000.
Yeah, and I didn't expect that from the Telegram. I really thought we'd have a few people just checking in case we got deleted. I didn't expect, all the great admins we've now got on there, and I didn't expect it must now be coming up in the search bar, is all I can say, because the numbers are just going up. Like, we're gaining like over 1,000 a day, I'd say, at the moment.
It's really
We're already nearly on like 8,003 or something like that. So
Yeah.
we've already gained a few hundred, even since I looked at it earlier. So
Yeah, we're gonna need more admins so we can trust.
yeah,
It's getting a little crazy. So we've had to weed out some trolls. There's obviously it's a public Telegram right now. There's really no way to like give it a password or anything, but people obviously want to come in. They want to start fights. Had to kick out like an actual Nazi at one point, and that's not what we're about at all. I mean, he was like trying to stoke the race war, and I was like, my dude, no, get out, please get out. And there's been people who like just post like, not safe for work stuff just for fun, and I'm like, no, that's not why we're here either. So we're doing our best to keep up with it, but 8,000 people and like constant messages is a lot to deal with. So we're doing our best. And sometimes Matt and I have to take a break and leave it to the other admins. It's just been really overwhelming, and we've been trying to keep up, but it's just like unexpected.
it's been so intense. Yeah.
And they took out Parlor, and people are hearing about that, and it's like, no.
And Gab's taken off, but obviously they're shocked by the amount of people that are now using it, so they need to sort their service out. But it's what I've seen so far. It's looking good. I just can't get it to work for me right now. The most I've managed to get it to work was when I checked it when you were on there and it was working. But that was like evening time. I'm guessing there's certain times of day where it might not be at its peak and you might be able to get on there a bit better. But
I actually checked in right before we started recording, and it was running okay.
Oh, was it? Maybe they were already nearly quite sorted then.
Yeah, they're catching up. They've been working really hard, and I'm impressed. And they have tried to reach out to Jack on Twitter in like a peaceful way, which is like, props to you for the respect. I mean, sometimes you just have to kind of bless your enemies and move on. But it sounds like they have honestly helped each other in some way. I mean, Gab is still on Twitter, so they're advertising themselves.
Yeah, and they've still got their verified badge as well. They haven't been deplatformed.
So it's interesting. I think Gab is it seems like a sort of combination of like Facebook and Twitter. A little bit more to it. I think it's nice. I'm just waiting for it to kind of settle down. I haven't been able to keep up following people back because it's been so buggy. I try, but it's just like I get on there and I have literally like over 1,000 notifications, and I'm just like, but like
too much.
I don't know if people really want to complain about like conservatives, which not everyone on Gab is necessarily conservative, because I'm not. I just don't see why you complain about people on your platform you don't agree with, and then when they get their own platform, you don't want them
then
to
take that from them. Exactly.
And you don't, and I always heard that Parler was compromised. Like,
I heard rumors, but then nothing ever really backed it up. I never saw anything to actually back it up, but
evidently they were compromised, and
because they've been shut down.
Yeah, I mean, now I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of the platform in the first place, but I don't think it's really fair to do that. It's really like it's kind of wild, and I just never thought I would like live through this kind of time. Like every single day is like something historical. We're literally making history like almost every single day. And it's been epic. Like I don't know. So let's see, let me post. We're on Gab here. So our usernames are the @. It's the same, pretty much the same. I try to stick to some of the same usernames anyway.
Me too.
Be a little consistent, but again, it's important to kind of guard your energy and just, only engage in positivity right now. But I also wanted to remind people the actual definition of hate speech, because I think that's been kind of twisted and forgotten
100%.
as well. So wrote it down. Definition of hate speech: abusive or threatening speech or writing that expresses prejudice against a particular group, especially, and it doesn't say limited to, so it's not limited to race, gender, sexual orientation, etc. So bullying someone for their beliefs, hate speech. Saying death to America, hate speech.
Hate speech.
And, so it's like we need to sort this out, and we need to reevaluate and understand that like what you're saying against Trump supporters, as if you know them, is hate speech, regardless. Like whether you like it or not, the violent hate speech is just out of control. and the hypocrisy and the gaslighting is out of control. And I used to do it.
It is.
I used to tweet really crazy things at the president, and like I used to say horrible things. Like I don't even want to say it out loud, but my mom will tell you that like my mom can vouch for me. And I have my friend, the Mr. Information that I just was hanging out with on his channel. Yeah. We caught up after since July. We haven't talked since then. And he was like, I still have some of your old tweets. So I was like, you should send them to me. They're horrible and embarrassing, but you should send them to me. And I don't think he's been able to find them yet because it's a really long time ago to look through right now.
Yeah.
He's always putting stuff up. But it's out there. Like they're out there. So I just want people to understand that I've got a wide perspective, and I'm trying to tell you what's really going on. So I hope people listen to us. That's all I can say. What are we on next here? It's just gotten so crazy. And then the speaking of hypocrisy and Twitter, and the irony of the Twitter public policy tweet. That's what I wanted to bring up again. So after censoring people and gouging followers, I had almost 50,000 one day. I'm down to 37.5%. Just so after that, Twitter public policy says they're against the censorship in the Ugandan election. It says access to information and freedom of expression, including the public conversation on Twitter, is never more important than during democratic processes, particularly elections.
They literally just censored the whole of the US election, and now they're upset that no one else wants them. I'm not surprised they're not wanted.
Yeah, and Jack has also been caught saying that this is more than just the one account. He said it. He's very careful and tactful. You can tell that he's watching.
Yeah, he is.
So he doesn't get like perjured. He doesn't purge himself or whatever. But you can tell this is a thing that they're just censoring people. That they're allowed to do that because they're a big private company. They're big tech. They can censor the government? Question mark. Like that should alarm people.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing. So, again, like all this is feeling really familiar to people from Venezuela. So see if you can reach out and find somebody from Venezuela. They will tell you what's up. A lot of them are in Florida. And Florida's doing really well right now with everything.
Yeah, so well. They weren't having any mask mandates or anything, were they?
No. I think there's a lot more freedom in Florida right now.
They got it good.
Yeah, and let's see, where were we at? I mean, there's the topic of the pandemic right now, but it's a touchy subject on our channels and everything. But I'm not getting that hokey pokey, guys. I'm not getting it. No, it's too rushed. Something's wrong with the way that we're being told to keep wearing these masks and how rushed this thing is. And there's Epic Times reported some deaths after the fact, after a trial, and they're trying to tell us not to worry about it. And I also saw another report, I want to say from Norway. There's this woman I follow on TikTok. She lives in Australia, but it's starting to come out that it's not going so well with some of these. There's a lot of side effects, a lot of things you don't know.
So many bad things are happening. People are just dying or getting Bell palsy, infertility.
And
it's
I mean,
bad.
It kind of seems to be what they want. I don't know if anybody's caught the interview with Catherine Austin Fitz. Check out that. It's called Planet Lockdown, and she'll break down to you how the powers of the world are basically coordinating for all of this. There's satellites being sent up. The cryptocurrency thing is happening. They want to reset everything. They want to make everyone part of this like digital system. They want to put a chip in you to track everything. They want to be able to like tell you whether or not you can travel or buy things. And I just think
it's the mark of the beast.
Yeah, that's what's talked about in the Bible for sure. And it's, as someone who wasn't necessarily like into all of that, I'm starting to pay attention because there's some things.
It's real. The Bible's real. Like that, it's coming true.
And a lot of it is what I've noticed is it's kind of metaphorical in a way. But if you take a look at it, you start to see like the symbolism, for example, within it, and some of these stories that are more or less accurate. in predicting what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the rise of communism under the guise of anti-communism is really, really strange. And there's a lot of predictive programming, like films that talk about that happening as well.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this one called Sorry to Bother You. I don't know if you saw that one. I don't think you did.
No.
No. Okay. So I want to do like a full film analysis on my blog, but I used to think it was mostly about racism, but then I realized that it's the end of the film is the transhuman agenda.
Right, okay.
They've created like super soldiers using people who work for their company, and what they do in this company is offer you a place to live and meals. And these people look like they're having a good time, but then he slows down the footage and sees someone mouthing "Help me,"
Mm.
and so they're basically prisoners. You live there, you work there, you die there. But they spin it in this really like snappy way, like we'll give you a roof over your heads, you'll be really cool here, everyone wears the same uniform. And so he starts working for this like telephone company, and he rises up in the ranks into this sort of like pyramid, and at the very top is this transhuman agenda where they want to like experiment on him basically and turn him into a hybrid human. And it's really wild. Like, oh, I think I've just been thinking about a lot along with like I Am Legend and Mad Max and like Tank Girl and stuff like that. Like the thing about these people is it seems like they have to tell you what they're doing in some form or another, but we're not
Truth in
supposed
plain
to see
sight.
it. Yeah, and for the people who think that's crazy, like I hate to tell you, but you've been brainwashed. We've all been brainwashed to some extent. It's just a matter of like how brainwashed you are, and if you think you're not, you're probably the worst one.
Yeah, definitely.
You're
If you
probably
think
the
you're
worst
not brainwashed, you're definitely brainwashed.
You just sorry, yeah. So everything's getting exposed right now. I mean, a lot of the good thing about this time period is that people are calling themselves out. You know, by going against the president, we can kind of see who's
They've
who.
all shown their colours now.
A lot of people showing their true colors in their reactions to things and whether or not they're backing people up. Look up what Project Veritas is doing right now, exposing a lot of things.
Yeah,
He
insane.
just exposed PBS principal council member by Michael Beller, who has since been fired, but it's been rumored that a lot of people in PBS think this way, and I have found some sketch things about PBS as well, basically being a part of the Monarch Ultra program for children. They're aimed at like programming children. So now Michael Beller said if Joe lost, people should go to the White House and throw Molotov cocktails. He also said Republican voters should be targeted and have their children taken to re-education camps by Homeland Security.
Unbelievable.
Which is just that nobody deserves that. I'm sorry, but nobody deserves that. I wouldn't wish an internment camp on my worst enemy.
It's disgusting.
I wouldn't. And the thing is, China's already doing it. And I mean, obviously, like we're not going to hear about it right away, but there's a report that came out of Beijing. It says an estimated up to 8 million people have been detained, tortured, sterilized, and quote unquote re-educated. And there are pictures of people with blindfolds on, like handcuffed behind their back, all wearing the same uniform. And Chinese leaders deny the survivors' claims and say that the internment sites are simply vocational training centers. Which is just, I mean, I don't know, like, I just don't understand how some people don't see the villain tactics where they're obviously going to deny what's happening and try to pass it off as something else. Like they're going to be careful with their wording. They're going to try and like tell you that this is a good thing. You know, just like that Chinese tweet, like basically bragging about sterilizing women. They're trying to say that that's a good thing. How is it a good thing to take away your freedom of choice and whether or not you want to have a child? It's not. They're eradicating a race, like, and they're bragging about it. And people are just eating. So it's we need to stay on our toes. We need to research spy tactics, research cyber warfare tactics, keep out of confrontations, try to diffuse things, ease tensions if you can, or just have some peace and quiet time. And work on your affirmations, work on your prayers, work on your spirituality. Because one thing I've noticed is that they don't want that. They don't want us being able to like find that connection within ourselves and find peace in this time. They want you fearful. They want you confused. They want you fighting your neighbor. That is part of the agenda. If you haven't heard of Agenda 21 or 2030 or Operation Lockstep or anything like that yet, please take a look into that stuff.
People really need to, because we're in serious times now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
Things are going down.
we're in the time to act is now.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people want to know what to do, and all I can say is trying to remain positive and counting your blessings and trying to help the people around you, the people that you love. Pick your battles. Obviously, we're not going to win them all, and this is a long war, and you're going to lose some battles. But the big picture is that, you know, God and love wins. Ultimately, that is the story of our planet, and they know that, and that's why a lot of the films show that. That especially in something like Monsters Inc., which is basically an adrenochrome reference to scaring children for their essence. In the end, they discover that laughter and love works better.
Yeah,
and that's a theme that repeats over and over in our culture, in our media, all over the place, because they know in the end it's not going to work. They've had a really long time to rule the earth. And I just made a TikTok about kind of the taking over the world agenda, and it seems to be popping off a little bit. But a lot of people know this already, but you'd be surprised how many people don't. So I'm just taking the opportunity to try and see if I can wake up some more people. That's my goal.
It's the way to do it. It's got to be done.
Yeah, and I know you're doing the same thing. So we're trying to help people stay calm and just control your emotions and just try to look at things logically before you react to things. There's a lot of other things happening around the world. Bill Gates is now the owner of the most farmland, evidently.
Yeah, he's just not on board.
Which is, yeah, we don't
Makes
like
a bit
that.
uncomfortable, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't like that at all.
With that. A lot of suspicious
like
deaths happening. This caught my attention. Baron Benjamin de Rothschild.
Yeah.
He's dead at 57.
Heart attack, wasn't it? They're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Heart attack.
Suspicious of every death now. Like, I just don't trust it. And then
no death.
No,
don't trust any of them.
It's crazy. I don't know. The wealthy sweet and low magnate leaps to his death from New York City apartment, age 89. I don't know. And the thing is, I think he had Parkinson's. And my mom and I were kind of speculating about it this morning. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I trust that necessarily. I mean, maybe he didn't want to suffer anymore. Maybe it was something like that, and he had everything all taken care of and planned out. But my mom was like, people that age don't usually do that, though, because they know
they don't.
But they know that they don't have much time left anyway. It gets more suspicious from there, though. We have the American Chinese socialite who jumped to her death naked, holding her 5-month-old daughter after rubbing shoulders with Hillary Clinton.
And whenever I want to mention that, though, because that's mysterious, because Steve Bing last year, who also used to be connected to Hillary Clinton, jumped from an apartment building. There's a lot of jumping going on around Hillary, isn't there?
Or drowning, yeah.
Yeah, or hanging from a doorknob.
Yeah, she's got a high count of...
all of her friends. Nobody has that many friends who has committed suicide. That's all I'm saying. Something stinks with that.
No.
We don't call her Hillary for no reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I voted for that, and I used to look up to that, and it's embarrassing, but
it's okay. You learn. It's okay.
It is what it is. I didn't really know that much about Benghazi, but then I found like the emails and that one about the chicken in the backyard and Moloch. I was like, who does that?
That's what I mean. Like, the people who defend that, I'm thinking, guys, like, take out the fact that chicken's meant to be a child. Sacrificing chickens in your garden is not natural, like normal behavior. That is not normal behavior at all.
No, it's gotten weird, but I don't think people realize that a lot of these ancient cultures and crafts have been kept alive through certain bloodlines and societies, and that it's not a coincidence. Like, they try to keep these rituals going in a different way. And my friend David Whitehead, the Truth Warrior. He knows a lot about cults and rituals. He is definitely on it. So if you want to check him out, that if you ever want to know more about like cults and stuff, he's great. The last death that caught my eye was the INXS. I think that's a band. The manager of that band suddenly died after finding out he had cancer. He'd only known for around 2 months. And just the fact that it said suddenly dies, I was like,
suddenly.
Yeah. But it's just getting really weird out there, guys, and the news is hard to keep up with, and we're trying. We have our Telegram group, and it's popping for sure.
Yes.
We're trying to find other places to go, but right now Telegram's kind of our little safe home. It sounds like they're even targeting Signal right now, so I don't think even Signal's safe. It is what it is, and we take a risk here with every episode trying to talk about things, but I just and people are being deplatformed, demonetized. They're attacking people's wallets, trying to make us dependent on the government. And the government's supposed to be working for its people. We're not supposed to be like dependent on them. That's how it's supposed to work. What it was intended to do. So we're reaching a really huge turning point. It's getting kind of strange. So we just want to remind everyone out there to, practice your quiet time, your prayer, your meditation, your gratitude for what's going on. Try to stay grounded. I recently got like my entire crystal collection back. And it just came at just the right time. I've been feeling a little bit better ever since. I got this one. Hold on.
Your special one.
I have to show it. I don't know why. This is one of those. This is one of those things that like I was like, I have to have this rock.
You've been glued to it ever since you got it back. So sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me feel like safe. I'm pretty sure it's smoky quartz. But I found out that smoky quartz like helps remove a lot of negativity and a lot of like painful emotions and stuff. It's just been making me like feel kind of calm, and there's genuine like vibration frequency in a lot of these crystals, like that's why it's kind of becoming a trend again. But we're getting to our cutoff time here, guys. It's been great.
It's quite
we could probably
good,
talk
actually,
about this for another
my
while.
internet's starting to play up right now.
We're going to drop our links. Follow us on Gab.
Hello.
Yeah, I noticed it getting a little buggy.
Yeah,
so
my internet.
We'll tie it up here and wrap it up. You guys?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, it's okay. We're gonna say bye. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to join our Telegram. And, we're losing Matt. Okay, it's okay. We love you guys. We'll see you soon.
See you later,
do what
guys.
we can to stay consistent here. We're working with the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So, bye. Okay, we love you.
Bye.
Stay grounded.